Hello everybody, Jester here, and welcome to my top 5 tips for new Elder Scrolls Online players. So, number 1. Spend some time in Coldharbour, and by that I mean the tutorial section at the start of the game, when you just escape from your cell, you go through the basic combat tutorials, and you're in the area where you can fight Clanfear and Dremora, and just spend some time there because I would advise leveling up to about level 4 and looking for all of the chests and barrels and collecting anything you can. It could also be a good way to sort of figure out what sort of build you're going to have, like whether you're going to be a medium armor build, heavy armor, light armor, a mix of all of them, and obviously it will give you some starter gear to sort of get you started in Tamriel. And because you spend some time leveling up to level 4, the chances are that when you leave Coldharbour you're going to level up to level 5, which will then mean that you'll instantly get the next main story quest, which is to find the Harbourage and the Prophet in Tamriel. But obviously, because you're spending some time, you will get some skills, of course, to help you in Tamriel, and the items that you find that you don't use, for example, if you decide to use heavy armor and you find a bunch of light and medium armor, you can just sell those to get a little bit of cash to start you off. Number 2. Collect every crafting material you can, and by this I mean the 3 sort of main crafting materials, which are clothing materials, woodworking materials, and blacksmithing materials. Even if you decide to just be one sort of crafter, like a blacksmith or a clother, collect all the materials because then you can sell them later on to get some money, or you can build them up so that when you're a higher level and you max out, say, your blacksmithing or your clothing or your woodworking, you can then maybe decide, hey, I want to level up my other crafting trees so that I can craft armor for my other characters. So you've already got a horde of crafting materials that you can use to level up your crafting. And plus, certain crafting materials such as fell hide can go for quite an expensive amount, because fell hide, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't drop anywhere. You have to get it from deconstructing things, because it doesn't drop in Coldharbour and it doesn't drop in your veteran rank 1 area. Number 3. The area's level range can be easily figured out by the crafting materials you find in that area. For example, Stone Falls, or Auradon, or Daggerfall, Glenumbra, sorry, not Daggerfall, their crafting materials, which are jute, rawhide, maple, and iron, they are levels 1 to 14. They make level 1 to 14 gear. So that area is pretty much level 1 to 14, so that when you reach level 14, you can move on to your next area, which is Deshan, Stormhaven, or Gratwood, and you can then move on to oak, flax, hide, and high iron or steel. However, in your second area, for blacksmithing and clothing, you will also find cotton and orichalcum. Not in that order, obviously. For blacksmithing you will find orichalcum, and for clothing you will find cotton. They are for the next area, your third area. So when you can't make your level stuff with the materials that you find in the area, then, or the main crafting material that you find in the area, then you know that it's time to move on. As for veteran ranks, well, obviously veteran ranks take a while to level up because they need 1 million experience for every veteran rank. So you just pretty much try and complete the area. That includes all the dungeons, all the dolmens, the world bosses, and that will help you level up to the appropriate level for the next area. Number 4. Take your time when creating your character. Specifically your first character, because obviously your first character is going to be the one that gets you into the game. The very first time that you experience Elder Scrolls Online will be through this character, so you want him or her to look good, you want them to be good on the battlefield. So take some time to think about it. Do you want your character to have a backstory? Do you want them to have a personality? Do you want their actual alliance and race to reflect that personality and backstory? Do you want their class to reflect your character? Whether it's a Dragon Knight, a Sorcerer, Nightblade, Templar, whatever you want, make sure that your first character is going to be the one that you remember, and you always go back to whenever you're bored or whenever you want to do some PvP or some group dungeons, and always improve on your character. The best Elder Scrolls Online players never stick with a single build for too long. They always adapt and change. If they find a weakness in their character's build, they will instantly think of a way to combat that. For example, vampirism. A lot of vampires, they always just don't feed at all, so they go straight to rank 4 of vampirism, which slows your health regeneration by 75%. So with the introduction of the champion system, there is a perk in the champion system that you can level up, which improves your health regeneration up to 100%. So obviously, vampires will probably put all their champion points into that one perk to combat the health regeneration. They will also get health regeneration enchantments for their armor and jewelry, but they will get a Mundus Stone, which aids health regeneration. They will probably try to boost their health regeneration and fire resistance as much as they can to combat the weaknesses of vampirism. And finally, number 5, vampirism and lycanthropy. Now, the thing about these two things are, first of all, you have to complete a quest to properly become a vampire or a werewolf. But before you do that, of course, you need to be afflicted with either vampirism or lycanthropy. To get infected by either of them, you can either be bitten by another player, because when you become a vampire or a werewolf, you gain a passive skill when you level up enough that lets you infect another player with lycanthropy or vampirism. But you can also go to these special areas, they're usually in your 4th area, either the Rift, Bankerai or Reaper's March, and at certain times, usually during nighttime or a full moon, werewolves or blood fiends will spawn there that do have a chance to infect you with lycanthropy or vampirism when you are hit by them. This does not work for normal blood fiends like in Rivenspire or in Eastmarch. They don't work, and the werewolves in Glenumbra, they don't work either. They have to be specifically spawned at these areas. I'll put a map up on screen of the areas for each of the alliances, the Pact, the Covenant and the Dominion. But you can get infected those two ways, and once you are infected, you will gain a passive effect which is called either vampirism or lycanthropy, and you have got 1 week to complete the quest before it disappears and you can't become a vampire or a werewolf. So what you do is you go to the respective shrine. Once again, I'll probably put maps up with the markers over the certain shrines, and you pretty much have to do the quest. For lycanthropy, you need to bow down to her scene, kill either a giant snake, a troll or a mammoth boss, and sort of call your pack to feed. And for vampirism, you've got to kill 10 worm cultists and you'll gain vampirism. Now, the vampire questline scales as low as level 38, I believe it is, whereas the werewolf questline scales to any level. Can be level 1 to veteran rank 14. So, you've done the quests, and there you go. Skill lines level up as you level up, so you don't particularly have to use any of the skills, although for lycanthropy, it does help to have the werewolf transformation in your ultimate slot and use it in order for you to get the skills. Keep in mind, when you do turn into a werewolf, it seems that you take a lot more damage than usual, even though it says that it boosts your armor. But of course, in, I think it was 2 updates ago, they added the Hersine's Bounty skill, which lets you use magicka to heal yourself, and that really helps a lot. For vampires, you've got the Bat Swarm ultimate, and every vampire that I've spoken to or seen usually uses the Devouring Swarm morph, which pretty much damages your enemies as usual, but also heals you for the damage inflicted to them, which is really useful to combat the 75% health debuff. Yeah, so remember, choose whether you want to be a werewolf or vampire, or maybe you don't want to be a werewolf or vampire. Although the werewolf vampire skill lines do give you a lot of good passive skills, so I do advise choosing one or the other. And those are my top 5 tips for new Elder Scrolls Online players. Obviously, with Tamiya Unlimited released and the monthly subscription now removed, or at least the requirement for the monthly subscription, the game has seen a hell of a lot more new players over the last couple of months. And honestly, personally for me, it has been a little bit annoying, I will admit, because all of the new players are pretty much sticking to the bosses of dungeons. They're pretty much grinding them, not giving anybody else an opportunity to, you know, fight them on their own solo, like I like to do, because when I go through a solo dungeon, I expect to do it solo. And that also works for quest bosses, because I get a great deal of satisfaction for killing the end boss of a quest line. But of course, when I reach the end boss, and somebody is just dealing the final blow, and then the quest completes for me, the boss doesn't spawn for me, so that, you know, is really annoying for me. But anyway, hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you have and you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're not already, and share this video with your friends to expand the circus, and I will see you all in the next video. This is Jester, signing off.